Also, we are now being joined by Kusal Pereira from Bilan Villa. He's a writer and a journalist. Welcome to the show, Kusal. Thank you so much for joining us. As our correspondent was telling us that the voter turnout so far is relatively lower than the previous times. What do you attribute this to, considering that these are landmark elections, very crucial for the country, given the financial crisis that Sri Lanka is currently facing?
Well, this was seen during the last week or so with a very mild response to all the campaigns, people not taking much interest. And you want to know what the reasons are. The reasons are many. One basic factor is from 4.5% to 42% leap was a dramatic leap by the NPP, by Anura Kumara, and that massive growth in their polling are floating votes. And most of them voted Gotabaya in 2019. So these floating votes actually expected a drastic change in governance within 24 hours. This is what they were, in fact, told during the presidential campaign. So they said this is a new group, a disciplined group, a hardworking group. They would immediately get into business as soon as they are voted in. But sadly, it's not happening. So over the weeks, people tended to feel that what they expect is not what is being delivered. And now it came to a situation where they said, well, two-thirds is too much for this government. To hold them in check, I think a normal majority would do. And I think the JVP, the NPP also has felt it, because they started by saying that the 2020 225 parliament should be packed with NPP. Then they came down to say that we are going to have a two-thirds majority. And now they claim political power without saying what their majority would be. So all that gathered together, collected together, has sort of left the people uncertain whether they should go to vote or not. So I'm expecting something like 70% or around 70% polling, a drop from 78% that was there during the presidential elections.
Right. Mr. Pereira, what bearing will this have on the election result, A? And the second part of my question is, for the sake of our international viewers, could you explain the significance of these snap elections in Sri Lanka?
Well, I mean, you said this in the introduction to Sri Lankan situation context here, that once Anura Kumara Dissanayake from NPP was elected president, he needed a parliament and a government with a majority for him to run the country and the affairs of the country. The parliament that was there and that was used by President Wickremesinghe, who came as a standby president, was the Rajapaksa parliament majority. So obviously, that was a conflict of interest if they went together. He wouldn't be able to do what he wants, and he would not be allowed to do anything other than what the Rajapaksas want. So there was no other option. He had to dissolve parliament and go for a new parliamentary election and have a government of his own. So that is where we are. And the question is whether he would be able to form a government by the NPP. I said, yes, they would be able to do it, but it would not be a massive majority. It would not be a tremendous increase in voting for the NPP. The drop in total polling would affect them as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Kusal Pereira, for joining us with your insights on the broadcast today.